Have you ever wondered why some women show you respect before you've even done anything to earn it? Not the shallow kind of respect that comes with charm or looks. I'm talking about the silent respect, the way she watches her tone when she speaks to you, the way she adjusts her behavior when you enter the room, the way she doesn't try certain games with you that she plays with other men. You probably never understood why, because it's not something women will ever spell out for you. They don't sit across from you and say, "I respect you because you're not like the others." No, it's much more subtle, almost invisible, but she feels it instantly. And if you don't know why it's happening, you won't know how to keep it. Imagine this, you're out with friends, and one of the guys is trying way too hard. He cracks jokes, buys extra drinks, keeps leaning in close to the women around him, and yet he doesn't get respect. Instead, he gets smiles, polite laughs, and maybe even numbers, but behind his back, he's dismissed as fun, but weak. Then there's another man. He's not performing. He's not scrambling. He's just steady. He says less, but when he does speak, people listen. The women around him don't tease him recklessly. They measure their words. They might still test him, but they test him differently, with curiosity instead of mockery. That's respect. The truth is, this respect isn't something you beg for. It isn't even something you directly demand. Respect is the byproduct of how you carry yourself, how you react when tested, and how indifferent you are to whether or not she approves of you. Women respect men who are not emotionally enslaved to their validation. Here's the game most men don't see. Women will try to figure out how much of your identity depends on them. She'll do it in small ways. She'll delay a text reply to see if you panic. She'll say something cutting to see if you snap defensively. She'll go quiet in a group conversation to see if you chase her attention. And here's where the majority of men fail. They react. They overcompensate. They prove, unintentionally, that her attention governs their sense of self. The moment she feels that, respect dies. Attraction might linger. Manipulation might start. But respect is gone. What you don't realize is that women are constantly scanning for this weakness. They don't even always do it consciously. It's built into them. And if she senses that you're not hooked by her emotional bait, if she notices you can go silent without discomfort, if she sees that your mood is consistent whether she's warm or cold, suddenly there's a different energy. She doesn't treat you like a boy waiting for a prize. She treats you like a man she cannot control. That's when respect begins. Now, here's the tactical part. When she pulls back, when she withholds affection, when she becomes distant, you don't chase, you don't interrogate, you don't flood her with what's wrong texts. You maintain your rhythm. You go to the gym. You focus on your work. You keep your plans, because her withdrawal is not always about you. Sometimes it's her own storm. Sometimes it's a test. But either way, the moment you make her silence your prison, you've failed. You've told her she has power over you. When she throws a sharp comment, don't defend yourself like a child scolded. Smile slightly, or let it pass like water. If it really crosses a line, you state calmly, "I don't engage in that." And then you withdraw, not dramatically, not angrily, but firmly. Because respect isn't built when you yell or argue. Respect is built when she realizes she cannot destabilize you. And when you feel yourself wanting to overinvest too soon, pause, test her investment first. Does she initiate? Does she ask questions? Does she make effort to see you if she doesn't? You don't double your effort. You pull back. Because over-investing when she's under-invested is the fastest way to kill respect. She respects the man who knows his value enough to wait and see what she gives. You don't have to be rich, famous, or perfect. What you need is self-possession. Respect is always tied to how you manage your emotional energy. Most men bleed it out at the feet of women who never asked for it. The men who keep it, who protect it, are the ones women respect without even knowing why. Now, I want you to think about your own life. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt her lose respect, even though you thought you were doing the right things? Have you noticed how different women treat you depending on how much you reveal your need for them? And here's the real challenge. When was the last time you held back your energy instead of spilling it just to prove your worth? There's a reason why the men who stay calm under pressure are the ones women never forget. It's not about being cold, and it's not about pretending you don't care. It's about showing her, without a word, that your center of gravity isn't located in her. She feels it instantly when she realizes your mood doesn't swing based on her validation. That kind of steadiness is rare, because most men don't know how to hold it. They give away their composure the moment she changes tone, the moment she withdraws attention, the moment she tests. You've seen this play out. Maybe you've lived it. She's warm one day, affectionate, texting you constantly. Then suddenly she slows down. Hours pass between replies. Her voice becomes colder, and you panic. You wonder if she's slipping away, if she's lost interest, if you should double down before you lose her. So you start sending more texts. You make plans she didn't ask for. You turn what used to be calm into a scramble. And here's the cruel twist: instead of drawing her back, your panic confirms what she was testing for. It tells her, I need you more than you need me. And in that instant, respect evaporates. The game underneath this is simple. Women respect emotional scarcity, not scarcity of affection, not scarcity of warmth, scarcity of dependence. When she realizes she cannot pull you into emotional chaos at will, you become different from almost every man she has met. Most men fold. Most men hand over their emotional backbone the second she tugs on it. But the man who holds steady, who lets her mood swing while his remains anchored, he's the one she treats differently. And let's get brutally practical here. When she withdraws, the correct response isn't to chase. The correct response is to mirror her energy without hostility. If she takes a day to reply, you don't rush to reply instantly when she finally does. You hold your rhythm. If she pulls back in person, you don't beg for closeness. You continue speaking calmly, engaging with others, moving through your world. Because what you're showing her is that you're not emotionally starving. You're not surviving on her scraps. You have your own feast, and she can join if she chooses. When she tries to provoke you, maybe a subtle jab, a comparison, a dismissive remark, most men instantly defend. They argue, they explain, they try to prove their value. Don't. That's exactly what robs you of respect. Instead, hold silence, or respond with calm indifference if that's how you see it. Nothing more. You don't give her the satisfaction of watching you break, because the moment she realizes she can shake you like that, she'll never look at you the same. Respect is always tied to restraint. And here's another layer. Most men never think about women. Respect what they can't fully predict. If every time she pulls back, you chase. If every time she provokes you, defend. If every time she's warm, you melt, you've become predictable. And predictability without strength kills respect. But if she notices that your responses aren't governed by her moods, if she can't fully anticipate how you'll handle pressure, she can't categorize you. And what she can't categorize, she respects. The internal cost of failing at this is huge. Every time you fold, every time you prove you're reactive, every time you beg for her attention, you don't just lose her respect, you lose your own. You wake up in the mirror and feel smaller. You know deep down that you traded your dignity for the hope of keeping her close. And that kind of wound eats at a man's identity more than rejection itself. But the moment you shift, The moment you stop measuring your value by her warmth or coldness, everything changes. You're no longer the boy pacing around her silence. You're the man she wonders about when you don't chase. That shift is powerful. It makes her reconsider her own behavior. It forces her to measure up to you instead of the other way around. And let's be clear, this doesn't mean you never show affection. It doesn't mean you play robotic. It means your affection is a choice, not a survival tactic. You give it freely when you want to, but you don't give it to secure her approval. That difference is everything. Women can feel it. Affection born from confidence earns respect. Affection born from desperation kills it. So let me ask you, have you ever caught yourself chasing harder the moment she pulled back? How many times have you defended yourself when silence would have been stronger? And be honest, what would change in your life if you stopped reacting to her moods and started holding your ground? Think about the last time you felt like you were losing her. Maybe it was subtle, the way she stopped laughing at your jokes, the way her texts came shorter, the way she seemed more alive with her friends than she did with you. That sinking feeling you had wasn't about her silence. It was about the realization that you had placed too much of yourself in her hands. That's the invisible trap men fall into over and over. You confuse her attention for your oxygen, and when she pulls it away, you suffocate. But here's the raw truth: the more oxygen you need from her, the less she respects you. Respect doesn't live in dependence. It lives in the space where she realizes you can breathe just fine without her. That space is uncomfortable for most men because it feels like letting go of control. But it's the exact opposite. You're finally taking control back. Let me show you what this looks like in the real world. She cancels plans last minute. A man without self-possession reacts immediately hurt, annoyed, demanding answers. He texts, "Why didn't you tell me sooner, or do you even want to see me anymore?" He thinks he's standing up for himself, but in reality, he's handing her proof that her decision controls his state of mind. Now imagine the other man. She cancels. He simply replies, "All right, let me know when you're free." Then he goes about his evening. No drama, no chasing. Maybe he hits the gym, meets up with friends, or reads in silence. What do you think she feels in that moment? It's not anger, it's not victory, it's a spark of respect, because she just tested whether her absence would shake him, and it didn't. That's strength. Respect grows when she realizes she can't script your emotions. If she knows that she can pull your strings, she may enjoy it at first, but deep down, she loses trust in you. She won't say it, but she will treat you differently. She'll speak sharper, push boundaries harder, and invest less, because she knows you'll bend. But if she realizes you don't bend unless you choose to, suddenly the dynamic shifts. She treads more carefully. She starts measuring what she gives and what she risks losing. That's respect in its purest form. The problem is, most men think respect comes from giving more, proving more, loving harder. It doesn't. Respect comes from restraint, from the ability to stop yourself before you spill everything just to keep her close, from the discipline to let silence work for you, from the courage to let her feel your absence instead of drowning her with presence. That's the kind of energy women feel but can't always explain. They just know something about this man feels different. I can't push him the way I push others. Now let's get tactical again. When you feel the urge to overinvest, pause. Ask yourself, has she invested equally? Has she shown effort? Has she earned more of my energy? If the answer is no, you don't give more. You wait. You create space. This isn't punishment, it's balance. Because if she never has to invest, she will never respect. And when she does invest, you recognize it. You reciprocate. Not excessively, but with equal weight. That's how respect stabilizes. Another practical move: learn to love indifference. Not fake indifference, not coldness. True indifference. The understanding that her reaction doesn't define your worth. When she's silent, you don't crumble. When she's warm, you don't lose your head. You stay steady, and she feels that steadiness. That's what earns her respect far more than anything you say. Men lose themselves because they think being respected is about convincing her. It's not. It's about proving to yourself that you won't abandon your own dignity in exchange for temporary comfort. Once you live that way, women can't help but sense it. It's not something you advertise, it leaks from your presence. The way you carry yourself, the way you respond to her storms. So I'll ask you this: have you ever caught yourself pleading for her attention when silence would have been stronger? Have you ever felt the sting of realizing you gave more than she ever asked for, only to see her respect fade? And the deeper question: what would happen if, starting today, you stopped needing her to validate the man you already are? Some women will never say it out loud, but they respect you most in the moments when you refuse to be shaken. Think about it: when she throws attitude, when she disappears for a day, when she tests your boundaries. It's not always about punishing you. It's about watching you. She's watching to see if your identity collapses when she withholds. She's watching to see if you scramble, if you plead, if you chase. And most men fail the test because they can't sit with the tension. They need her reassurance more than they need their own backbone. That's the hidden psychology of respect. Women don't hand it out because you're nice, or because you provide, or because you flatter them. They hand it out when they feel that you are anchored somewhere deeper than their moods. That's why the same woman who disrespects one man will treat another man like a king without him doing anything special. It's not about his money. It's not about his looks. It's about the way he refuses to make her the center of his emotional universe. You've seen it happen. Maybe you've been both men at different times. With one woman, you tried too hard, gave too much, and lost yourself. She started rolling her eyes at you, ignoring your calls, speaking to you like you were disposable. And with another, you didn't chase, you didn't fold. You just lived your life with discipline. Suddenly, that same type of woman gave you her best behavior. She was sweeter, softer, more careful. The difference wasn't her. The difference was you. Here's the reality you need to tattoo on your mind. Respect is not negotiated. It's not begged for. It's not even directly demanded. Respect is enforced by the way you carry yourself. When she sees that certain behaviors won't move you, she adjusts. When she sees that silence won't make you break, she softens. When she sees that your world doesn't shrink without her, she leans in. That's how the power dynamic flips, not by words, but by presence. So how do you enforce this in practical terms? Start with boundaries. Boundaries are not rules you lecture about. They're lines you embody. If she's late repeatedly, you don't lecture her, you simply stop waiting around. If she disrespects you in public, you don't shout, you remove your presence. If she flirts with others to provoke you, you don't beg, you let her see the empty space where your attention used to be. Women respect absence more than arguments. Next, understand the power of pacing. Most men spill everything too fast: time, energy, affection, without ever testing her pace. Slow down, match her investment, not her potential. Watch if she's willing to earn more of you. If she is, then you give more. If she isn't, you don't force it. That discipline alone builds respect, because it shows you won't sell yourself for cheap. And remember, this respect is tied to unpredictability, but not in the toxic way. It's not about playing childish games. It's about not being easily controlled. If she can predict that every time she withdraws, you'll chase, she loses respect. If she can predict that every time she insults, you'll argue she loses respect. But if she realizes that her patterns don't move you the way they move other men, she's forced to reevaluate her approach. That's the seed of respect. The cost of failing here is brutal. A man without respect becomes her toy. She'll use him for comfort, for validation, for favors, but she'll never admire him. And admiration is the fuel of attraction. Once it's gone, she may stay with you physically, but emotionally she's already somewhere else. That's why so many men feel invisible in their own relationships. They gave up their respect trying to secure love. But the shift is within your grasp. When you realize that respect begins with your silence, your restraint, your ability to walk away, suddenly you stop negotiating with her moods. You stop being her emotional puppet. You stand firm, and she feels it, even if she can't explain why. So let me ask you, which boundary have you let her cross too many times, hoping she'd change on her own? When was the last time you enforced silence instead of explaining yourself into exhaustion? And if you're honest, do you respect yourself enough for her to follow? Respect is not about the words that come out of your mouth. It's about the weight behind your silence. It's about the way you don't flinch when she throws storms your way. And that's what separates you from the men she forgets the moment they leave her sight. The reason women respect you without you understanding why is because your presence tells her something she doesn't often encounter. You are not here to be ruled. Picture this clearly. She tries to pull away emotionally. She slows her replies, leaves your message on read, watches to see what you'll do. Most men fold instantly. They start typing double paragraphs, calling, questioning, begging for her attention. But you don't chase. You give her silence back. Not out of spite, but out of discipline. You don't rush to fill the gap she created. You stay calm. You keep moving. You let her feel the weight of your absence. That's when she starts to notice you're different, because most men can't handle that kind of pause. Respect is born when she sees you don't need her approval to validate your masculinity. When she realizes that your focus, your work, your discipline, and your energy don't bend just because she changed her mood. It unsettles her at first, but deep down, it creates something she can't deny: admiration. She may never say it, but she feels it. That's why she speaks softer to you. That's why she watches her tone. That's why she doesn't pull the same tricks she pulls with others. Here's the cold strategy most men miss. Women use withdrawal, silence, or emotional games as leverage because it works. They learn early that men will chase, defend, and prove themselves when pressed. But when you don't take the bait, when you refuse to let her tactics dictate your state, the entire game collapses. She can't play the same way because you're not playing at all. That forces her into a position she's not used to respecting your frame. Think of it like this: in every interaction, there's an invisible frame. Either she's inside yours or you're inside hers. If her moods dictate your behavior, you're living inside her frame. If your steadiness dictates the tone, she's inside yours. Respect only flows one way in that dynamic, and it flows toward the man who holds the stronger frame. That's why silence, restraint, and indifference are not weakness, they're weapons. But don't confuse this with arrogance. Arrogance demands attention. True strength doesn't. The men women respect are the ones who can enjoy their own company, who can leave a message unread without anxiety, who can spend an evening alone without feeling like the world is ending. That kind of independence is magnetic because it's rare, and when she senses it, she treats you differently. Now, the cost of not learning this is brutal. You'll spend years over-investing in women who treat you as an option. You'll bend until you break, thinking love is about sacrifice, when really, Love without respect is slavery. You'll feel drained, small, invisible in your own relationships. And the truth is, she won't even pity you because deep down, she knows you let it happen. But the shift is closer than you think. The moment you stop negotiating for respect and start enforcing it with your presence, everything changes. You speak less, but your words land heavier. You chase less, but your absence is felt stronger. You give affection, but only when it aligns with your choice, not her manipulation. And suddenly, you become unforgettable, not because you're trying, but because you're unshakable. So I'll leave you with this. Which part of you collapses too easily when she tests you, your patience, your silence, or your boundaries? What would your life look like if you stopped needing her validation to feel like a man? And here's the hardest question. Do you respect yourself enough to stop trading your dignity for her approval? She didn't break you. She revealed what you were too afraid to protect.